I don't think I have it in me to do another all-nighter, first impressions, first everything video. I already did one for Virgaon this week, but it's insane that we get Hound Razor support and Virgaon support back to back, same week. That's literally my original main for D format and my newest main for D format. Tony, come here. I don't think it's K-pop Demon Slayer level of willing into existence, but I sure do have a dog named Coney while I'm wearing my Coney Island shirt today. Obviously that willed into existence. Say hi, Coney. Coney, say hi to camera. Close enough. I never said anything about recording this first thing in the morning though. I even put the dog shirt on. Come on, light. Where are we going? Okay. So, a couple days ago now, Virgaon gave us 3 new Hound Razor support cards. Or, I guess they're 3 new Hounds, which I don't like that we're now getting Hound Razors that specifically support Hound Razors because they're dogs, and we don't have any dog Hound Razor cards. They're still just all like bark, gone, or whatever. But these cards are good. Let's take a look at them. I've already started proxy testing, so make sure you are subscribed because I'm probably gonna have some proxy vids for this in the future. Anyways, jump on into Wikipedia because I did not decide to bookmark the Twitter one this time, and let's go ahead and take a barking look. First of all, one of the cool things that they did that someone else pointed this out to me is, if you look at the arts, we have a Royal Paladin, we have a Shadow Paladin, and we have a Gold Paladin. So really cool that the 3 dogs have basically been revealed in terms of the 3 different Paladins, and that's the order in which we're going to cover them because that feels right to me. This is the order that those clans were released in the game. So starting off with the Royal Paladin, we have this freaking giant Flogel named Neygaon. I swear to God, I just did like 2 Uma Musume jokes on my last few roller coaster videos. I'm not doing it again. Insert picture, I got tacky on here. But this freaking thing, this pink dog that looks like a Flogel, I already said that, at all times to protect their master. It's got a little frisbee saw thing. Oh my god, it has a frisbee. So we have an 8K, these are all 8K grade ones, of course they are, shut up. Common card done by Minato, and it's got the ability, when placed on rearguard, choose one of your rearguards with Hound Razor in the name, and until the end of your opponent's next turn, that card cannot be attacked by all of your opponent's rearguards. Alright, so this is good and bad at the same time. Let's go over the bad first. It's just the last 2 words right here. It says rearguard. Oh no, your opponent's rearguard can still attack the guy. When? Tell me when in the history of Vanguard are you ever going to use your Vanguard to attack a rearguard unit? It just don't happen. Like, unless you're damage denying, it just don't happen. Move this a little bit more in frame so I don't just talk off screen into the mic. That feels right to me. That said, this is very reminiscent of a card that we've had in the past that I don't think I've covered here yet on the channel because we never did a video on the second wave of Hound Razor support. That is this chick right here, Hound Razor Hinami, who has a nice little, well, 2 skills real quick. We're doing a full reveal of it. I never did a reveal of this card on this channel, so let's go ahead and talk about skills real quick. First skill, this is the one that I like a lot because it is a nice little power-up skill in terms of when your high beast attacks from the back row center column, aka the card that you're targeting with Aui's ability, this unit's gonna get +5, and then if your opponent's a grade 3 or greater as well, choose one of your rear guards and it gets +5 as well. So this is a double buff card, and I just realized it buffs any rear guard, not just the back right center, which I just automatically do all the time. That's what you want to do with it though, by the way. So the +5 for yourself is always nice. I mean, that makes her a 15k, which is good because in general this deck is going to be buffing your back row, not your front row Nito Mosquito. The important part is that you can buff anything else. Like I said, 98% of the time you are using this on your back row center unit because it's going to make you hit numbers. One of the things this deck struggled with was your 18k/23k attacker in the back row. Yeah, it's a cool number. Yeah, it has a drive check, but your opponent still drops the trigger down and says trigger pass. Maybe not so much anymore with this card, especially if you stack them. That's not what I talk about it. Why I'm talking about it for the sake of Neygaon is its second ability, and that is at the end of the battle that this attack spell boosted by a high beast. Of course, that's how all these cards work. If your Vanguard is a Hound Razor, you can retire this unit. Choose one of your other rearguards with Hound Razor in the name, and until the end of your opponent's next turn, that gets the red text. This card cannot be chosen or retired by your opponent's card effects, aka F you Bob Sagara. Wait, I just realized that YouTube just updated their monetization rules, and that my channel is way too small to get monetized anyways. fuck it. The point of this card is that it prevents retire-based decks or control-based decks. The fact that it can't be targeted as well as just makes it like a pure form of resist, unless you're something like the Dragon Empire or Ace unit that just removes the circle, or I guess like some version of Bleach Joker does it, I don't freaking know. Yeah, this is pure protection. And in a format where Bob Zagar reigns queen, absolutely fantastic ability, especially by sacrificing yourself because, you know, you're popping one off to get another one. Neygaon pairs with this. Neygaon does the same thing, except it's attack prevention. That's why I was getting to this whole freaking time. And I guess I should probably reveal the other dog, but I want to do that at the end because we're talking about the new cards, and yeah, let's go into some new cards. You're not as new anymore. You're just, here's your full art. I want to see your shoes. That's not the thing, it's just you have some really cool looking shoes. Anyways, back to new stuff. Yeah, Neygaon, good. The only thing I don't like about this, like I said, is that it particularly protects your Hound Razor rear guards. As of now, no dogs with Hound Razor in their actual name, so you're only protecting your front row really, which is fine because when are you gonna put dogs to your front row? I mean, it's a common, it's allowed to just do that, that's fine. Moving from the light to the darkness, we have the Shadow Paladin, which is honestly probably the most mid of them all, but look at this, look at this, look at this art, this is amazing, I love it. We have Gurgaon. Get out of here, YouTube video. You're watching my YouTube video. Make sure you subscribe if you enjoy it. The many growls. It's signal to tear things apart with their sharp fangs. Freaking emo dog, don't worry about it. This one probably has the most mid skill of them all, unfortunately. Back row rear guard continuous. If you have 3 or more grade 1 less units in your back row, this gets plus 5k and on your opponent's turn 2. I mean, it's like whatever. This is a 13k booster. That's cool. Want to know what the rest of the deck does? So unfortunately, one of the big gimmicks to this deck is your girl here has the ability to buff up your back row puppos in the tune of a plus 5k. In one hand, yeah, that's cool. I mean, now your 8k turns into an 18k, which is a good booster. I mean, you put anything in front of that, this comes to 28k, that ties a trigger, so you have to guard with 2 cards. That card is good. That's we get that. However, this gets 5k in the place you put it. This gets 5k if you use the skill. This gets plus 5k when you summon it. This is a Virgaon, and this gets at least 5k depending on where you put it. We'll talk about this card in a second. This is one of the new ones. The point I'm trying to make here is, unfortunately, most of the hounds that you do want to run already get plus 5k somehow on top of some other ability. So just getting plus 5k, it's mid. I mean, it's good. It's like a budget Virgaon, I guess, if you don't run Virgaon, but then if you don't run Virgaon, you're running one of the other ones I just mentioned, so. Let's move on before I start getting sad. It's got cool art though, I like the art. Alright, last new card before we start talking about this old card. I'm just gonna bring him up right now, there we go. Virgaon, the gold paladin doggo that looks like a freaking Zacian with an eye patch. This is the most badass looking dog I've ever seen in my life. High dog and breeder, their hearts are always as one. Anyways, just saving the best for last year because this guy has a pretty freaking cool ability. God, it's weird to position myself on this whole medium where half the screen is ads. And speaking of ads, just mind real quick, if you guys want to help support me on this channel or like what I do here, make sure to drop me a tip on ko-fi.com/FreeOnSkyridge. It's kind of like Patreon, but I got too lazy to set up tiers, so just drop me whatever you want there. Or because it's a card game channel, guess what? Trading card games, tcgplayer.com is a website. I sell cards there. Anyway, speaking of gold, let's talk about the one that looks like Gold Paladin. Virgaon has a cool ability or two, and we're just gonna choose to ignore all of this stuff over here on the side, because I literally can't cover it all. Auto ability, one place on rear guard. If you have a Hound Razor Vanguard, look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Choose one unit with Hound Razor's name among them and reveal it, put it into hand, shuffle your deck. If you reveal the card, then choose a card from your hand and put it right into Soul Saber Dragon. So, full stop on this ability real quick. It is good. Asterisk, I haven't really popped it off in any of my proxy fights yet. But, in theory, when you don't whiff, this is really good. Top 5 search is always solid deck things deck winning, you all know the drill. It being able to look for a Hound Razor or turn 1. Turn one, by the way, this is not restricted by grade, so like your entire ride line, if you're playing this right, is Hound Razors. It's a grade 1. You can pop it off turn 1 and just deck thing. That said, all the resources that manages because of this, you have a card to hand and a card from hand to soul. Hand to soul is a little weird, especially with this being a double rare, because you think that will do the really cool thing, but I don't know why I just said that. It's still effectively a discard draw. We've had literally filter draw since the beginning of the game, ladies and gentlemen. Going to soul is just a good one for this deck in particular, because once again, Owie, our main card, one of her main skills, Soul Blast, to call any doggo out of deck. You need soul for that. I mean, like, I'm not a fan of it early game when you're just retaining hand size, but you're just 1-for-1ing as an egg one, so I don't know how that works card advantage wise. I feel like it's still a neg one in the long run because like you're playing a card in order to grab a card, but then that card that you grab instantly zeroes itself out because you're putting your card back in the soul. Neg one, but like it's just a really good neg one if you think about it that way. Anyways, it's really good. Once a good deck thing, deck winning, and you grab all of your Hound Razors. The deck effectively from this becomes less of a good stuff catter and more of a travel deck because you now do want to run more targets. Check out my BCS vlog to show off like the proper way of running this as a good stuff catter deck because it basically used to just be you play the package but you need to remove a couple of your dog pieces just to make room for a couple of other cards. Now I think you're gonna be a little bit more pure if you run this, which honestly like that's probably the cool thing about this all is you now have multiple ways to run Hound Razor. So I'm experimenting with that, see which version's better, do a video on that later. Make sure you subscribe to see I go live. Anyways, this guy's got 2 abilities because this is double rare, but 1 ability for each rare. Let's take a look at the other one. Continuous Vanguard, Rearguard, Gear Guard. The G now stands for Gear. If you have a Vanguard with Hound Razor in his name, this gets +5 shield, and if your opponent's grade 3 or greater, this also gets +5 power. Active on your opponent's turn 2. Okay, on one hand, this is your standard +5/+5, which was whatever. This is so mid. But I mean, if you think about it, what does this deck do once again? Well, it's mid until you attach it to another part of ability. Let's put it that way. If you get powers, power is cool if it's tied to something else. Full stop on that though, by the way. Tell me where in this part of the sentence do you see it has to be back row rear guard? That's what makes this card good. Yeah, the shield +5 is nice. There's things we do that. That's what makes this card good. The fact that you can play this effectively anywhere in the past. This entire deck. You're just calling cards out left and right. That's cool. Yay. However, they mostly have to be in the back row in order to function for basically any of the skills. Having a dog that you could actually use as an attacker, freaking solid. You now have a 13k that can be boosted by a 13k. That's a 26 lane without any other power-ups. That's a trigger to guard, which 16 triggers in deck. We're already hitting those numbers anyways, so now you have an attacking doggo rear guard that can do that as well. Consistency. That said, the +5 shield, we'll talk about it for a second. First of all, good. This effectively makes it so you can now no longer have to worry about the card that makes me sad. Where's the kitty cat? Giving us a shield card makes it so you no longer have to theoretically worry about one of the biggest key pieces this deck had, and that is the undercover Tigress, a unit that effectively said it gets +5 shield by returning another Tigress or another undercover card back to deck for your drop zone, aka more copies of Tigress, aka you have to run the undercover starter just to pop this thing off more often. I mean, you can still run it. Like I said, there's now 2 variants of this deck. We could probably do a more offensive variant with all of the shenanigans of the +5s and a more defensive variant that just tanks and makes okay numbers. I think like this would actually make it so you could run the other side grade 3 again because that grade 3 lets you guard from the field. By the way, another reason for the shield stuff. Essentially, this makes this card a good fusion in terms that you don't have to run Tigress anymore. I made it so I had to run a not Wiggle Waves as my starter, and that made me sad. Also, deck space or whatever, but I mean, I'm good with the Wiggle Waves use. Let me run the Borka card again. +5 shield, +5 attack. That's the best of the worst effect, I guess. It effectively gives you an attacker now because it does not tie to back row. It's still a good 13k booster, which is an 18k booster on any of your turns. And it being a 10k shield is great defensively because this year's deck was mainly that defense. Just the fact that like you are a spear, you stab them so hard. But then when it comes to their turn, you're like, oh, here comes my big attack. You just get sad. Maybe you could take to next turn, but you get sad. So having more shield is always a welcome option in my books, especially if it's tied to some other cool ability. Alright, that's the new 3 cards. I did promise this though, because we never really covered it here on this channel. Here he comes. This is the other new dog that we got out of set 8. We have Revergaon, which is actually the coolest looking emo mo shadow paladin guy. I don't know. I just said I'm allowed to cuss now. I don't care. I've been too family friendly for a while. The Black Hound, never forgetting his pride, carries on its ferocity. Yeah, that's pretty freaking awesome. I love this art. So it's got 1 ability, it's 1 long ability. Back row, center, rear guard when it attacks. Of course, back row, center, rear guard. This is everything this deck does. If you have a grade 3 or greater Hound Razor, counter blast 1, choose one of your opponent's grade 1 or less rear guards, retire it, and this gets +5 until end of turn. Then at the end of that turn, put this card into your soul. This is a lot of things tied together on 1 ability. Basically breaking it down, +5k. But you have to counterblast for it. You do get to retire a grade 1 unit, which is really freaking cool, except until you get to, once again, the fact Bob Cigar, the only rear guard that matters can't be retired. So that kind of sucks. But I mean, against anything else, if you see a cool booster, like in the mirror match, if they somehow have dogs out still, or What's another example I could give that isn't just instantly a deck I play? And Paldio probably has some cool grade ones. I don't freaking know. Mirror Match, I guess, defines anything catters, so target a good Rezael grade 1 or a good Leo grade 1. By the way, this week Leo also got a huge upgrade, and I should probably be talking about it as the Gear Chronicle player, but I mean, we got Hound Razor grade off support, so that'll be coming sometime in the future. Probably. The point is, the back row tire is nice. I mean, typically, unless you have retire effects, you're not targeting back row anyways, because you can only attack front rear guard. So that's really good. CB1, oh no, whatever. Your CB's kind of tight in this deck, but it's not at the same time, so you're chilling. Just make sure you're using your skills correctly. Make sure you pick and choose, and you manage your resources, and you're good. Then, 8 going to Soul at the end of the turn is always kind of nice. Once again, Owie likes have soul yums, and honestly, your soul is nothing in this deck. Yes, Soul Blast 2 is rough. It used to be a thing where you're only guaranteed 1 Owie proc, but you got cards like this, you got cards like the Neygaon Paladin dog we just talked about, you got cards like freaking Mishiru, the best grade 2 in the deck. Your soul is always there. This is literally just a good resource management deck. You have to be smart to figure out where to put your cards, but if you know, you're good. See, a solid card? This was something that like I used to say experiment with as a 2 of maybe, but like from the locals I brought in the past, it swung me over. So, I believe that's everything unless you want to see a deck build, but once again, that's what proxy fights are for, so make sure you are subscribed. Who see that? Go dive. I just need to find an opponent for it, honestly. Probably joke rank, but it might be nice to have some of my people on the channel. What do you think about the barks? Tony, with a dog? You're a dog. What do you think about the dog things? She likes looking outside. Overall, I'm a little mixed bag. I mean, on one hand, they have some cool abilities, but on the other hand, we have a lot of cool ability grade ones already, and that feels like kind of an issue for deck building, but at the same time, maybe that's a good thing because they're trying to say you don't need to run Force Aragons, but they're wrong. Just run Force Aragons. That's how you play any Keter deck, and especially the Keter deck that involves dogs. But what do y'all think? Comment down below. Write down and maybe hit the like button or the subscribe button. I haven't said that in 5 minutes, so it's fine. If you enjoy what I do here, make sure to support me on TCG Player or on Ko-Fi. Both those ways go towards getting me stuff like this cool Moon Mic light that you saw me turn on cards when they come out. And this is still early in the morning when I record this, so I don't know what I was going to say in the outro. Dog's good. Hound Razor still needs a hashtag. I enjoy these cards, and I think that they make it so we can now build a deck in several different ways, which is really cool because diversity or whatever, implying that me and like 2 other people on Twitter are the only people that play this deck. But I did just wake up, so it's time to walk my little hound. So I'll see you guys next time. Plenty of Coast 3 card game content coming in the future, and always embrace the infinite. I'm gonna sit back. I'm taking a sip of the cup all day. Gamer Subs, if I ever get popular, sponsor me. Freaking love my Cali Cup so much. The flavors is good. It does wake me up. These are effective. That's your free plug. Now, give me money one day so I can give you a proper one.